Hey guys, William Ayette, creator of JAZZEDGE, and welcome to lesson 22 of Jazz Piano Daily. Today I'm going to show you in 10 minutes how to create an arrangement from a Fakebook utilizing your chord shells. All right, so let's jump right into this. First of all, this is what you would typically see in a Fakebook. This is called a lead sheet. And a lead sheet basically is when you have melody, all right, and then you have chord symbols on top. You'll notice that there's no bass clef down here. There's nothing telling you what you should be doing in the left hand. All of that is based on this, right? So this is your lead sheet. When you have a collection of lead sheets put together into a book, we call that a Fakebook. And Fakebook, well, I guess they probably call it Fakebook because you are faking an arrangement. All right, so let's talk about how do we fake that arrangement. All right, so first of all, let's get into our sheet music today. All right, so we first of all have to start by making sure that we really know our root 3 and root 7 chord shells. So here's just a couple of reminders. All right, let's start here with E flat major 7th, right? There's my E flat major 7 chord. There's my root 3 shell, my root 7 shell. Bear in mind this is all written in G clef, right? But you could play this also down an octave, obviously, in bass clef. B flat minor 7. I'll just play with my left hand for right now. There's B flat minor 7, there's root 3, there's root 7. A flat minor 7, there's root 3, there's root 7. Right? So the first thing is you have to make sure that you know how to form your block chord and then be able to get the root 3 and the root 7 from that. I will be honest with you that these chords are great to spell away from the piano. Right? You're going out for a walk or something, say, all right, B flat minor 7, B flat, D flat, F, A flat minor 7, A flat, C flat, E flat, G flat, right? Just really going through and spelling those chords will really help you to get to them faster, right? There are no shortcuts to greatness, all right? In order to get great at something, it takes work. So forget all those like, oh, in 5 minutes, you're going to be able to do this. No, it takes work. You got to practice it, all right? So, and then doing it away from the piano is a great way of doing that. All right, so here is Misty with my chord shells. Let me go ahead and play it for you so you can hear it. Now, again, you'll hear that this is not going to blow the doors off of any arranging awards, but it gets the job done, right? And now there's a couple of things to notice what I'm doing here. Number one, playing the melody and playing the melody strongly, right? So if you're playing the melody, it's like, oh, whoops, and you're messing up the melody, well, then that's not going to work. So you have to make sure you really know the melody. The next thing is the rhythm. If I just... right? If I don't get the rhythm down and there isn't smooth, then it's not going to sound right. But if I can really get my melody and the rhythm of the melody and the fingering of the melody down nice and smooth, and then I just add those chord shells in the left hand, then it works perfectly. Okay, so now with these chord shells, you already know that we're doing either a root 3, okay, so I'll put that up here. We're either doing a root 3 or a root 7 chord, right? So now the question is, which one, when, right? So here I started with my root 3. You might say, well, wait a second, why didn't you do root 7? I could have, okay? Could have done root 7. I wouldn't want to put it right here because the melody would conflict with that, right? Right? It would conflict, but I could play that root 7 down there. Instead, I went for the root 3. Why? Just because it's a little bit low, it starts to beat just a bit. A little bit of tension down there. So I came up here. B flat minor. Why that versus root 3? Well, you can kind of hear root 3, it's a little bit low there, and there's a lot of space. Why not root 7 down there? Pretty obvious, right? Way too low. So here it works perfectly. Now, why did I go to my root 3 here? All right. Because this is a dominant motion. Right? We've talked about dominant motion before, okay? But this dominant motion here, all right, is anytime that you are moving up a fourth. So when you are moving up a fourth, this type of motion, if you were doing a root 7 here, right? So this is a root 7, so now you go to a root 3. Guess what? If this was a root 3, this would be a, if I did root 3 for B flat minor, then I would have gone to root 7. Right? So anytime you have this 2-5 or dominant motion, this is a 2-5-1 progression going on right here, B flat minor, E flat 7, A flat. That's what we would call a 2-5-1. Right? But just looking for that interval of a fourth, right? Moving up a fourth or down a fifth, however it's easier for you to think of it, right? So when you have that motion moving up a fourth, if you were going for, if you had a root 7 here, then go to a root 3, and then conversely as well. If you had a root 3, then go to a root 7. All right, so then to my root 7, root 7 again, D flat, root 3. Okay, now let's move on down. And an E flat major, right? Root 3, C minor, root 7 for F minor. Now you might wonder too, like, well, why didn't I go out to root 3 for the F, right? Because again, if you're paying attention, this is that dominant motion. Now remember, when I say dominant motion, I'm just saying moving up a fourth like that or down a fifth, however you're looking at it, right? I'm not saying that that is actual dominant motion because that's a minor chord, right? But anytime you have that motion of a chord going up a fourth or down a fifth, which is exactly the same thing, right? Up a fourth, down a fifth, they're exactly the same thing, just to make sure we're clear on that, right? Anytime you have that motion, whatever chord voicing you had there in the left hand, you're probably going to want to do the opposite. I did not do that here, right? I didn't do that here because I wanted more depth down here, right? This started to sound a little thin, whereas this sounds fuller. So I have complete control. I could do all root 7s if I wanted to. Right? All root 7s in the left hand, but I'd have to bring the melody up an octave, and I got to jump all over the place. So you see that I do mix the root 3 and the root 7 together, but I have complete discretion, like I'm doing right here. C minor, F, go down an octave, then root 3 for B flat 7, and then root 7, root 3, root 7, root 3. Now, if you get this down well, okay, this is how it sounds. Okay, so sounds pretty darn good. Now, be sure to check out episode number 25 because I'm going to talk about how to play this with the band, all right? So group playing. So be sure to check out episode 25. All right, so what you need to do for right now is just try and get down these chord shells in the left hand. So just the root 3 of the chord or the root 7th of the chord while playing the melody in the right hand. This works great on any kind of ballads, even something like right, so Fly Me to the Moon works great on something like that as well. Even like Ain't Misbehavin'. Right, so you could play this, you could utilize this chord shell approach over all different types of chords, right? Really, really works quite well if you get them down, right? And in order to get them down, you're just going to practice them a lot. Be patient with yourself. This is not something that you just magically get together in 15 minutes, all right? So you can see here we've created an arrangement, but now to get it under your fingertips, you're just going to practice it more. But you'll get there, okay? I promise you'll get there if you just put a little bit of time into it each day. All right, so now, speaking of each day, if you want to grab the sheet music, go ahead back to Jazz Piano Daily or check out the card that just popped up in YouTube, all right? You can follow the card, go back to Jazz Piano Daily, put in your name and email address. You get free access to a bunch of sheet music, so be sure to go back there and check it out. If you enjoyed the videos, all right, these are all free for you to watch. If you are enjoying them, please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications, like the video. All of that stuff helps and helps to support what it is that we're doing here at Jazz Piano Daily. All right, so anyway, that's it for me. Thanks, guys, for watching. I will see you in the next Jazz Piano Daily lesson.